Great, thank you. Good morning, everybody. I'm Verran Townsend from LBM. Delighted to be here today. Thank you very much for coming. A brief introduction to LBM. For those of you that don't know of us, we're based up in Manchester, but also have offices in London and in Belfast. We've been in business now for 10 years, and we are a growth business. We were in the Times Top 100 list for the last 2 years running. And we are very much about working with our clients, understanding where they're coming from, what they're trying to achieve, and then working with them, typically within any one of these areas. How can you acquire business better? How can you develop your customers more efficiently? How can you keep your customers, not let them go? And how do you evolve an approach? And it's very much in the context of change. Everything is changing. The environment is changing. The businesses are changing. The business community is changing. And this is very much a theme of this talk this morning. We work with a lot of businesses, and these are some of the larger businesses that we work with, including Dixon Stores Group, PC World as well. But also we work with a lot of smaller businesses. We supplied over 2,000 companies in this last year. And what I'm going to be talking about today is as applicable to the large business as it is to the small business. It's just on a different scale. And a lot of it is quite simple, straightforward activity that a lot of people simply don't take care of and don't practice. Okay, but what we're about today is the acquire side. How can we acquire more customers within an environment of very rapid change? Technology is out there, it's fantastic, enables us to do things far faster, but of course at the same time our targets are accelerating typically just as fast. And the pressure is always on us to deliver now. And that tends to get in the way, certainly from where we sit. It's relatively rare to see an organisation with a fully developed plan that they're working through in a systematic way, where change isn't getting in the way, or if it is, they're working with it and around it. So often we're so short-term focused that it gets in the way of improvements in efficiency. Give an example of supplying data. We supply lists. I gave a poll of our sales guys recently, just asking them, in what proportion of times are you talking to somebody that needs a list, that's needing that list in the context of a well thought out plan? And it ranged from between 5% and 20% of the time. The vast majority of instances that we encounter are people needing a list, and I need it this week. In fact, I need it tomorrow. Meanwhile, they've obviously thought about the mailing or the email campaign or the appointment setting campaign that's going on behind it, whatever it might be. But the question of who am I going to contact, which is critical in this whole process, seems to be arrived at more than likely at the very last moment. So we're out there trying to build in time to think and to put some thought around that. Okay. The first question typically is, what are we trying to achieve? A very different approach will be adopted if you're trying to build market share. I want customers. I need customers. I'm not that interested if they're going to stay for a long time, be worth a large amount to me. I want customers. It's different to the approach you would adopt if you're looking for sales volume, larger spenders, or perhaps profitable customers, or perhaps customers that will stay with you for a long time. Quite different. So let's understand what it is now and what it is over the longer term. Set clear targets, but do expect change. Your business will change. You will also need to change, typically, and also the market will change. And again, often that's somewhat overlooked, given the short-term requirement. And then start asking these key questions. Who could buy your products and services? Can we ring-fence the market? Can we isolate the part of the market that we care about? Within that market, who's most likely to buy from you? And then critically, who could I sell to right now? Again, a lot of effort goes into approaching companies that you simply can't sell to, particularly if there's any kind of contract renewal cycle issue going on in there. And a lot of businesses are establishing the fact that, yes, I can't sell now, but not logging it, not keeping it, and then trying to sell to them again when in fact they know they can't. How can we approach them? There's a proliferation now of ways in which to contact businesses. Email, of course, direct mail, use the telephone, whatever it might be. What's the most appropriate way? Again, what we mostly see is that a business will decide, I'm going to do a mailing. Well, is that the most appropriate route? Can we mix it in different methods, perhaps? All important questions. And how do we as an organisation need to change and adapt to sell more in the future? Okay, I'm going to go through each of those in turn. So first of all, how big is your market? There's an awful lot of information out there that can be used to ring-fence a market. It's not always necessary to just fire messages out to the whole market. The business market is finite, but it's still very big. There's approaching 3 million businesses out there, business sites, business locations that contain people that could buy from you. This is a representation of our market. Don't know if you've seen anything like this before, but our 2.6 million sites are all arranged across this table. Across the top, we've got number of employees. Down the side, we've got top-line business activity. What is the company doing? And we had a show of hands recently as to how many people have less than 10 employees. Well, you're in a group that equates for 68% of all businesses. Most businesses are very small. Within that, we've got 300,000 small shops. We've got, what have we got? Over 200,000 builders out there. Now, they might be in your market, they may not be. They can be identified, they can be excluded, or they can be focused in on. A very large proportion of people are working for the big organisations, but most organisations are actually small. It's quite polar. And this area in here is an extremely interesting area, often overlooked, the mid-market area. Businesses that are on the way up, businesses that have been around but are in this middle zone, again, often overlooked. So, can we use information to hone in on the market that we care about? Those are two measures. There are many others. Where is the business? Obviously is important, but also businesses file their accounts, that information is available. How much do they turn over? Are they a single site? Are they a multiple site business? You might be involved in a business for whom that actually matters. They can be identified. The distance that those sites are from each other can be calculated. Are they an independent? Is that an independent buying unit, or is this business part of a group? Have we got to work a lot harder to find the decision maker within the business? How old is the business? How's it performing? Is it likely to turn into a bad debt for you? All this information exists and can be used to slice the market down, and it's surprising how small that market can become if you start to just think it through. There are other ways. This is just one of the angles that we seek to add to our market file. There are other ways of cutting the UK as well. We build models, and I think the main message here is that if you can't access a piece of information, then make an estimate. You'll more than likely be along the right lines. We do a lot of this. We have ways and means of carving up the market in terms of how much a business might spend on its IT, on its telecoms, how many vehicles it might be running, the extent to which people travel, how much they might spend on office supplies, how much energy they're burning up. And recently we've introduced a new model, which is our carbon footprint model, which seeks to estimate how much of an impact a business is having on our environment and whether they're likely to be doing anything about it or not. So we're joining in the mission here to identify these businesses and tie up with organisations that can help them minimise their impact. You'd be amazed what information you hold, whether it be about your customers, about those that have inquired of you, your ex-customers, research pieces of information that are out there, and also the knowledge that exists in individuals' heads within your organisation. So take every step you can to pool this information. Take all the data, take those thoughts, bring them into one place, generate insight, and from that insight, create clusters. Clusters of opportunity. Great opportunities, medium opportunities, areas of the marketplace that will give you nothing. To make this practical, these sort of techniques can be employed. That you can do this yourself. Others out there can help you. We obviously do this too. The objective is to identify key clusters and then place every business in the UK into each of those clusters to size the opportunity. Identify it, quantify it, and in that way prioritise your opportunity. Here is an example. We're working with a client where we took their customers, looked at all the characteristics, talked to them, and we're able to place businesses into one of 6 priority segments, priority buckets. differentiating 20,000 at the top who shared all the positive characteristics that you could ever wish for, from the 1.5 odd million businesses that share no positive characteristics at all. It can be very, very powerful. It can help to focus activity very tightly.